Welcome back to my channel. Today we got some fun stuff going on. We're going to be installing a Summit hydraulic kit with 3 rear remotes on my Kubota L3902. I'm going to start with an unboxing of everything, and we're going to kind of go through the whole process of getting everything installed, hooking it up to the Power Beyond, putting the electrical in, putting the switches in, the toggles, adding the top and tilt, hydraulic cylinders, kind of do the whole hookup. So here we go. So it all comes up, packaged up in a nice little box. Everything was really well packaged. I kind of have already opened it. This was wrapping around some other stuff. But it comes with the hoses to hook up to the Power Beyond. I don't need the hoses for the front third function because I already have that from the dealer. I already had that installed. But I'm adding in 3 rear remotes. So this is just to hook up to the Power Beyond to my block. So anyway, we'll go through all of this fun stuff. I'll get it organized and laid out, and we'll go from there. All right, so we're looking at the instructions. Step 1, it says to install these plugs on the end of the block, but on the instructions, the little angle irons are already attached, so we're just gonna put those on there first and then put in these plugs. So here these are, we're gonna put those on, show you what that looks like. They come with locking washers, so we'll just get those screwed in there. There we go, got those installed. They have, like I said, they're lock washers. We'll keep that nice and sturdy. Next, we're supposed to install these little hex plugs into the top of the P and T port as the plugs. Make sure it's on the top of your manifold block. These use a 3/8 hex drive. Next, you install this other hex socket plug into port GA. It's just a plug. I think it's for a gauge if you wanted to install one of those. And just sink it all the way down until it kind of stops, and you're good. Next, we're going to install this in the instructions. It calls it number 8 SAE/orb ORB into the port A. All 3 of those, and then these ones, which are called SAE number 8 SAE orb 3/4-16 thread with the washer into port B. So all 3 of those, we're going to go down the line, get those all tightened up. So I got those all tightened up, looking good. Next, we're going to install this 1/2" JIC male by number 10 SAE orb. That's what it says in the instructions. Into the T and P port. We've got 2 of those. We'll get those installed. And make sure to like and subscribe for more content like this. That really helps out the channel. Thanks again. Well, now we have all that installed. Have it all attached nicely. Now we're going to add the quick connects to the block. Okay, so what it says in the instructions is to install these AG 1/2" female quick couplers to the 1/2" SAE threaded adapters on the manifold. So they just thread right in there, and then you just got to snug them down. Again, they have the little rubber O-rings to keep everything nice and sealed that interface with that little bevel. So put those all on, and actually one thing I'm going to do before that is attach all of these, so you don't have to try to stretch them over that. So attach all of those, then we're going to screw in all of these, and we'll get back when that's all done. If I were to do this again, I would not install this bracket on before installing these like it says to do in the instructions. I would instead install all of these, then get the bracket, because they make it kind of a pain to tighten, because there's hardly any room to get in there with the wrench to tighten these down. So I would definitely install this bracket last. All right, so that's all hooked up now. Now we're going to install all those solenoid valves. At least I think that's what they're called. Next step, we're gonna get these out and install those. Remember to take off this cardboard backing that holds in all of your seals. Okay, 2 things for when you're installing this. You need to take out these little plugs. A really simple way is to just thread this little screw in just a little bit, a little more than that. Thread it in a little bit, and then you can pull it out. You know, it's hard with one hand, but anyway, thread that in, then you can pull those out. Then I'm also going to flip these around so that the plugs actually come to the inside instead of when they come factory, these plugs are on the outside, so then your cables would be on the outside. If you flip these around, then all of your cables will be running down the middle, right down here, down the middle here, so you can have them all nice and protected. When you're doing this, you unscrew this part. There's a little O-ring. When you pull it off, that O-ring is going to come off as well. Hold on to that O-ring, We'll just set it down. We're gonna flip this over like we said. Put it on there like that. Put the O-ring back on. And then screw the cap back on again. And then all that will be nice and snugged up, looking pretty. When you're putting this on the manifold, make sure that this P is facing the same side as that little porthole. So this is going to go on like that. That P lined up on the same side as that little porthole. It's in the instructions as well. Make sure that P and the porthole on the same side. And the hex torque screw specs are 2 foot-pounds, not a lot. Another thing we're going to do on these is just a little dab of blue Loctite on each of them before we insert them in. Get those inserted in. Very lightly at first, get everything put in, and then we'll tighten them down. Now just do that exact same thing on the remaining valves that you have to install. It's good to put a little bit of hydraulic oil on these O-rings before placing them down so they can sit in there and seal better and not crack. Well, there we go. All that's installed. Next step is to go to the tractor and get this installed on that. All right, so the next step is we attach this mounting bracket to the tractor. Took a fair bit of time to figure out exactly where I was going to put this and how I was going to put it. I had to place it in there, raise and lower the 3-point, make sure there wasn't going to have any interference. Put on the hoses, make sure they're going to still be able to run without any interference. So after doing all that and having my wife help me attach these brackets, we're looking pretty good. I think we're gonna do real well there. Now I'm gonna attach the little switch brackets. We're gonna put that so it's right there. Gonna kind of attach it right there so it'll be hanging out. Really easy access to those switches so I can just tap them whenever I need to. But that's gonna look real good. I'll show you what that looks like when it's done too. All right, well, I finished the install. I'll show you everything that we did. So I connected all of the connectors, ran those down, tidied them all up, making them look real nice. So that's where that was able to fit just barely. Everything fits in well. The hoses don't get in the way of the 3-point hinges. It goes up and down even with the hoses on. Connected this little controller right here, fits right next to the armrest on the L3902. I bent this bracket out a little bit so that it would clear the armrest and fits really nice right there. Looks really nice. And then I ran the electrical from here under the tractor up through here. That's the little right there, comes up through there, up and connected to the end, the battery, the hot and neutral terminals. Ran the hydraulic line. On this one, I already had this third function installed. So I ran from here back to the summit and then back up into the pressure port of this of the third function right here. And then that runs up into the loader controls right there. I actually took these hoses in and got them cut to the right size so that there's not a loop of hose back in there, so that makes it look much nicer, a lot less hose, just the perfect amount. Everything's installed, everything's connected, the switches are working, the rocker switches are working. Next step is to test it all out. All right, so it's been a couple days since I did the install, and I ran into a couple issues. I'm going to go over those so you don't make that same problem. Almost fairly catastrophic. Almost had to buy a whole new manifold and a bunch of stuff from Summit. So when I I'll show you in just one second. When I placed that manifold block right there, everything tucked in really nice. It was able to up, lower, and raise and everything without running into anything. But that was before I placed the connector hoses, which I had to put 90s on there so that this doesn't run into it, because it ran right into it, bent it back. You can kind of see the angle that that's at now. It bent the whole block back, almost ripped off the hose and messed up that block and everything, but everything's fine. It's all good now. I was able to fix that, so no more issues. I didn't have to, but I ran these with 90s as well, so that it wouldn't run into and catch the quick hitch, because they used to come out here, and when it was all the way up and pulled in, it would overlap these. Then when I tried to put it out, that would catch and try to rip out the hose. So I had to fix that issue as well. But now everything's working really good. I'll kind of show you how it works, and we'll go from there. So I can tilt it up and down. I can extend it, bring it in. That's working great. I can raise it all the way up. If it's one other thing, if you have the cylinder all the way in and you try to raise it up, these try to catch on the little taillight covers right there. So I always, you got to put it out just a little bit, extend it out just a little bit, and then you can raise it up all the way without any issues. So there it is. It's all tucked up nice and tidy, looking great. I would really highly suggest this kit, especially for box blade work. It makes a world of difference being able to just quickly adjust that on the fly to get the crown on your driveway and have it flat when you need it flat, and it is fantastic. And I really like the top link as well for everything. So there's the install. As of now, this is the pin I had to get in there. The stock pin wasn't quite long enough to fully go through and get the cotter pin in, so this is what I'm using for now. I'm going to try to get one that's more like the stock one right there, but for now that works. Everything's working great. I'll put a link to these cylinders in the description as well, so you can find those. It's not really worth doing a video on that install. I put 90s on there so the hoses stay tucked up and tidy, but it works out great. I've been loving it. All right, last update on this video for this install. I went ahead and added these flow restrictors right here on my connections. So I got a flow restrictor there and there for the tilt valve, so that it used to be just violently fast. So that made a world of difference. I'll show you what that looks like, but these are super simple installs. Just separate it right there, add it in, and then reconnect everything. Everything looks really nice and tidy now. I'll show you how that works. All right, so here we go. There it is now, and now we're gonna watch it going up and down. Nice, very controllable. Just works out beautifully now. All the way up and down, in and out, nice and smooth. Obviously up and down, no issues with that. So that made it really nice. I'd highly recommend those if you're going to be doing this install. Make sure to like and subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next one. Take care.